There we go. Okay. Let's see here. I gotta get the chat back up. Morning, everybody. Sorry I'm a bit late today. Oh, 30 seconds. That ought to be okay. There we go. Now I got everything up. Sorry, I've been tracing some of those weird stories that you could get in trouble for doubting, but... Hey, Lorena. Hey, Luann. Hey, Betsy. Hey, Katie. Hey, Timberly. Yeah, it's a good idea. I still gotta run down to the Newberry Library. Still gotta go get my allergy shot. Hey, Karen. Hey, Kathy. Yep, smoke does get in your eyes. You can even smell it. Yesterday I could smell it quite a bit in the house, really. Not too bad. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Bob.
Benny Goodman presents Helen Ward singing With All My Heart.
Hey, Diane. Hey, Gladys. Morning, everybody. So yeah, working from home today, but I'll show you kind of what I've been researching the last day or so. Hey, Miles. Miles popped up to say hello. Hey, Miles, want to say hi to everybody? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Lynn. To say again I love you with all my heart. Hey, everybody. I'll give it just another minute for people to get online. Welcome to the morning mini tour. Yeah, Cindy, I remember I was about 13 when they banned smoking at the mall, and people were really freaking out about it. Now I'm just like, what? Of course you can't smoke at the mall. Come on. You can't smoke at the damn mall. Just a couple of years ago, I was in Mississippi, and they asked me at a barbecue place if I wanted smoking or not, and I was like, huh? It wasn't that long ago that I had to ask everybody who came into the restaurant about that. And even like, it was only like 2006 or so, it's only been like 15 years in Chicago that stopped being a thing.
Way back and gets a lot of rhythm out of Walk, Jenny Walk. Benny Goodman and his orchestra.
Oh yeah, I remember about like 2005 when I was working for Mattel, we'd have to go into the smoking break room at the Walmart in Bridgeview. Hell. It smelled a lot worse than it does outside right now. Felt like you could get 6 or 7 diseases just walking into that room. But alright, I'll kind of talk you through what I've been up to today. But today and last night. Really, I'm just kind of working about 16-hour days on the New York Cemetery book right now, but I'll talk you through some of the stuff. I think I might have not only identified a grave, Miles, but an unmarked grave, but the story behind it is wild. So I don't have proper video walking right up to it. Let's start out just briefly mention once again George Eaker. His grave is right here. George Eaker is the guy who shot Philip Hamilton, Alexander's son, in a duel. Philip Hamilton, after he made a speech that I'm still trying to get my hands on a copy of the full text of that speech, but I got some leads. I need a couple of passwords to get a copy of it or to just go down to Hyde Park. But after he made a speech, like 4 months later, Philip Hamilton and a man named Mr. Price came in and harassed him at the theater until finally he had duels with both of them, not doing any damage in the duel with Mr. Price, but then killing Philip Hamilton. So here's where, that's just kind of some backstory to bring us into where we're coming up now. So here, we're back at Trinity, a few blocks south of there, passing by the vault of the Mulligan family, which is a little sign there for Hercules Mulligan, though by all accounts he's either at a different cemetery or at a different vault under the church. I've been working on the Hercules Mulligan entry all day and finding out just how shaky the stories about this guy are. It's nuts. There's like 1 or 2 stray lines that people have just blown up and blown up. A lot of it is just pure fanfic. Even some of the bad stuff about him actually comes from fanfiction. And pointing this out might end up getting me in quite a bit of trouble, but I'm really surprised, not really surprised, but kind of surprised at just about how nuts that gets. But just adjacent to the Mulligans, right in front of it, to the Mulligan vault, is this cluster of graves that only has one that can really be made out at all. You can see this one over off to the side here. You can kind of make out that there's some writing next to the kind of cross-shaped one. That is a guy by the name of Michael Price. Digging into the story of Michael Price, he was King George loving freak. Absolutely loved King George. Fled from New York, but came back afterwards and operated a mercantile shop. During the war, he said that he loved to have British officers come over to drink, and if they didn't drink enough, he would grab a flogger and come after them to make sure they had enough to drink. One particular biography written a few years later said that, like King George III, whom he venerated, he was crazy and had to be watched. Now, we can kind of fill this in from just what we know. We know a bit more about his sons than we know about him. The cross there is unidentified. The one to the left of that is Helena, Michael's wife. My speculation is that the cross in between is probably for Benjamin Price, a son of theirs who was killed in a duel. Now, he was in a couple of duels, but then in 1816, he went to the theater along with his fiancée, who was one of the Schuyler sisters of the day, and this British officer was sitting in front of them and looked around and stared right at his fiancée. And she looked at him and said, "That guy's kind of creeping me out." And so when the guy turned and stared again, Benjamin Price reached out and grabbed the guy's nose. Now, the next day, they both apologized to each other, but a friend of the guy told him, "No, you gotta have a duel with this Price kid. Otherwise, we're gonna kick you right out of the army." So the guy practiced dueling, practiced shooting until he could shoot consistently at $1 from 10 paces. Went and challenged Benjamin Price, then went out to Weehawken and had a duel. Benjamin Price was killed on the first shot. So my guess is that he did die in between the days of his parents dying, so it makes all the sense in the world. We also do have an 1839 source saying that there was a whole cluster of about 10 Price graves here. So it's about as logical as anybody else. He's the one who would have died in the right time period. But the story gets a little bit wilder from here. Now, Benjamin also had a brother named Stephen Price. And I'm going to guess this is probably what Michael Price looked like. We don't know for sure, but I'll put it right there. When he was younger, he looked like this. He is known as the father of theatrical management. Theaters had been around for a long time, but most theatrical managers had been actors who just did the managing on the side. He was the manager of the Park Theater right across the street from here, and for a while of Drury Lane. And one story goes that the reason he went to London to manage the Drury Lane Theater is he was escaping from the consequences of a duel that he had fought in the States. He did fight several different duels over the course of his life. Now, one particular story that was related after his death, and when he died in 1840, newspapers were full of Stephen Price stories. One of them was that a few years after Benjamin was killed in a duel, he overheard a guy talking and bragging like, yeah, remember that Benjamin Price duel? I'm the one who talked that officer into having the duel. So that night, Stephen Price, who by then was racked with gout, made his way to the Washington Hotel where the guy was staying and said, I have come on purpose to insult you, sir. So they had a duel, and Stephen Price won. The other guy was killed. They buried his body on the island where they had the duel, and all his friends just thought he died in a shipwreck or something. Now, going back a little bit wilder, this is a guy who is generally agreed by historians to have been the Mr. Price who accompanied Philip Hamilton to the theater that day. And Philip is probably right over there by the big obelisk for Alexander, his father, but we don't really know. But I'm kind of worrying at this point that maybe I have too many stories about duels in this upcoming book, but I just keep finding more and more and more of them. So, all right, that is today's morning mini tour, just kind of catching you up on the research that I've been doing the last 12 hours or so. This has been keeping me awake. Lots of stuff to keep me busy and lots of stuff going on today. In fact, today I've got to head down to a research library that has the actual pamphlet from the early 1800s that one printer used to publish a book-length poem insulting and challenging to a duel one of our founding fathers, who then won the duel against him. But, all right, so thanks a lot for joining me, everybody. Just a quick thing of what is coming up. This Thursday night, tomorrow night, we're going to be doing Architects at Graceland Cemetery, and that'll kind of build up to next Saturday. We're not doing anything this week. It's kind of a good thing given the Air Quality Plus NASCAR and 4th of July stuff. We'll just do Architecture of Mysterious Chicago next week, July 8th. So thanks a lot for joining me, everybody. I am, in fact, going outdoors as little as possible. I am generally of the opinion that you can't have too many stories about duels in these kind of books. And really, it was really very much a part of the fabric of their lives. So thanks for joining me. I'm Adam from Mysterious Chicago Tours, telling you all to stay safe and stay strong. And, of course, if you can, stay spooky, everybody.